Mariah Carey's Dreamlover at number 9, down from number 3 on my fantasy playlist October 17th, 1993. Her sixth number one hit. Her first 5 records went to number 1. 1990 and 1991. Emotions, one of her best records, got that Motown sound to it. And this song, Dreamlover's got a nostalgic sound to it as well. Walter Afanasieff plays the Hammond B3 organ on this record, which gives it sort of an organic feel, a 60s feel to it. Song kind of reminds me, with that organ in there, kind of reminds me of that song back in 1967 by Brenton Wood. Give me just a little bit, give me just a little sign, girl. Reminds me of that record. It's the perfect late summer, early fall record. Days getting shorter, days getting a little bit cooler, but not too cold, and the leaves changing color. It's the perfect late summertime vibe of this record. Reminds me too, it's got the feel, it's got the texture, it's got the nostalgic texture of some of those laid back 60s classics like Groovin' by the Rascals, or It's a Beautiful Morning by the Rascals. The sun coming up. It's a Beautiful Morning with Mariah Carey with her sixth number one hit. She's had about 18 number one hits. Think about that. I wonder if Mariah Carey ever sits down and looks through the top 40 hits, all the top 40 hits that she's had, through a top 40 book, and just, let's see, let me count all the number one hits I've had. Wow, I can't believe I did all that. 18 number one hits, the bulk of them in the 90s. Particularly in the early to mid 90s, late 90s, she tapered off a little bit. Although she did have about 3 or 4 number ones in the 2000s. Mariah Carey, Dreamlover, co-written by a guy named Dave Hall. Dave Hall worked on Mary J. Blige's debut album called What's the 411? Real Love was a real big hit off that album in 1992. Co-produced and co-wrote some of Madonna's tracks off the Bedtime Stories album, including Human Nature. Hit line was all over Human Nature, I do remember, back in 1994. Song written in the key of F major, Dream Lover, 104 beats per minute. It does sample an older record. Dave Hall and Mariah Carey wanted an old school vibe to be infused into this record. And she and Dave Hall, they sat down and they went through some of the older records, and they picked out one by The Emotions, Blind Alley, very obscure record by The Emotions back in 1972 rather. Now their Emotions were best known for, well, Best of My Love back in 1977, but they did have a number of R&B hits back in the early 70s. But as far as I know, Blind Alley was not released as a single. If it was released as a single, it did not chart. But Mariah Carey and Dave Hall, they took Blind Alley, they took the sample, they took the melodic structure, and they built Dream Lover right on top of it. Perfect piece of musical construction. Dream Lover. It debuted at number 13 on Billboard's Hot 100. It was number 1 for 8 weeks. Boy, with a voice like that, genetically blessed as she was, or she is still. She's pushing 50 now, but still looking good, sounding good. Mariah Carey. Boy, it's just wondrous. Made out of gold. Some people are just made out of gold. At least for a while. Mariah Carey with Dream Lover at number 9 on my fantasy playlist October 17th, 1993.